Hello everyone. This is just going to be a very short video just to correct something that's been bothering me for a while, namely the camera system. Well, right now the camera is just this variable, this global variable, and it works by having every object offset by that position, so it will subtract the camera from itself, and that's how it's going to be drawn. There's nothing innately wrong with that. In fact, this is how pretty much every game camera system works, even 3D ones. And my original intention was just to show you the math behind that so you could apply this knowledge to any language or framework and make a game with any language. But I understand this is not really how people work anymore. That, like, a lot of frameworks have some sort of canvas element or some sort of transformation stack, and Love 2D has a very good transformation stack, and I know that's what a lot of you use when you make camera systems. And it pretty much does the same thing, but it does it automatically for you, so you don't have to manually subtract the camera from every object. So when you give a position to the transformation stack, or when you offset the transformation stack, every object in your scene is also going to be offsetted. I've known about this for quite a while, actually, so don't say something like, oh, you don't know anything about Love 2D. No, I've actually known about the transformation stack the whole time. So we're going to do that today. And of course, there's another problem with the current system we have. We have this big global variable that we're sticking inside of all of our objects. It's not a big problem right now, but if we have like 100 objects, we're going to have a reference to this global variable everywhere. And if this changes at all, it could actually break our game and we'd have to go through all those objects and change it. So that's one reason why global variables are bad. So we really want to just get rid of this. Yeah, we want to get rid of it from the debug renderer as well. I'm going to save that. So how would we actually use the transformation stack? Well, we put it here in love.draw. So just before I draw things that I want to be in the world, I would say love.graphics.push. And what that does is it pushes the current transformation state onto the stack and preserves it so that we can change the transformation state after that. So I can do love.graphics.translate, which is going to move everything. And what do we want to move everything to? Well, the camera, of course. And it's fine to use a global here just because it's going to be isolated to this one file. And then after that, what I want to do is pop that state. It really doesn't matter actually, except for the fact that I also have this heads-up display right here, this text display, and I don't want that to be affected by this translation. So everything that's going to be drawn in our world is going to go between push and pop, and then things like the UI is going to go after that. And that's all we really need to do. And of course, the other thing I could do is I can do, before that, I could do scale and rotation. But because of the way our map system works, that's going to be a little tricky. So I might save that for another tutorial. Also, when you scale a tile map, there's always a chance of it tearing. So then you have to get into batching the render, or batch rendering the quads, which is a bit more advanced. But I might get into that later. But for now, I'm just going to translate everything with the camera, and I'm going to save that. The other thing I have to do is change the map rendering code. So right now it's using gcamera.x. What I want to do actually is pass that in. I'm going to do camx and camy. So now it's not going to rely on that global variable. But there's one more thing we need to do here. We need to actually account for the fact that we have that translation. So we actually need to add the camera back in as well. And one more thing I want to do, I noticed this does not actually need to be here. So what I'm going to do actually is make this a separate variable. And I'm going to move that, because this is a bit wasteful. We're doing this every single frame, every single loop update, which we don't want to do. I'm just going to call that tile start X and tile start Y, and then we can add it there. Okay. Now I should also do that for the coin. Yeah, I got to get rid of the camera here. Just another reason why it's not a good thing to have globals, because imagine doing this for like 50 different objects. Now that that's done, I gotta pass in the camera here. Okay. So now I think it should work with the new system. Okay. It looks like the coins are being offset properly like before. Everything looks fine. Let me turn on the debug render. Ah. Well, I gotta update that too. Actually, I just realized I don't need any of that, so I'm gonna take this and just pass it in directly. Okay, now the debug render is also offset correctly. Great. I mean, I leave it up to you to work out things like scale and rotate. The problem with scale is that we're only drawing as many tiles as we need. And if I want to scale the whole screen, I also have to scale the number of tiles that I'm drawing. So it can be quite a challenge. Definitely something, it would be a good homework assignment or a good thing to work out on your own. But I think this is good enough for now. It's a huge improvement. There's one other thing I need to fix. The other thing I want to update is the camera smoothing. So in update camera in main.lua, instead of just snapping the camera to the player's position, it has a target which is being updated at a percentage each frame. But the thing is, my math is actually wrong here because I'm adding camera T every frame. And what that's going to do is when it reaches 1, it's just going to be stuck at 1. We don't actually want that. So I don't know why I did that, but it's not correct. So all we really need to do is just delta time times a scalar value, which I'm going to make 5. And I think that will be much better. Okay, good. We still have camera smoothing, and it's not going to end like it was before. It's going to keep being smooth. If you don't want that, you could always just take out the lerp. But it just gives you some idea of how these things could be done. Some people use other smoothing functions instead of just lerp. Like there's a lot of different smoothing functions you can use. I definitely recommend looking that up. But yeah, that's a big improvement from before. Okay, and that's it for fixing the camera in this video. I hope this has been very helpful to you. I mean, not having a global camera variable in all of our objects is a good thing, and it's going to really speed up your workflow if you're making an actual game. That's all for today. If you like this video, like and subscribe. Cheers.